It's Nick Wright from FS1's First Things First on what he's thinking could be things that hold the Browns back this year.
My concern for the Browns, in addition to the fact I'm not sure how great of a coach Stefanski is very simple on, I don't know how much the essentially 2 years out of football, plus the awful off-field stuff that follows Deshaun and that he carries with him, take any of the other facets of it aside, all of that, it wouldn't be outrageous to say he's not going to be the same guy. That the guy he was 3 years ago in Houston, that player's gone. And they have no path forward other than him being awesome. And I know he was better in those last two games. I just don't know if Deshaun Watson's ever going to be awesome again. And if he's not, I don't know in that division what real chance they have.
With that, let's welcome in Jeff Lloyd from the Locked On Browns podcast. Jeff, I'd push back. And again, Nick Wright got to start with Colin Cowherd. So this is right out of the Colin Cowherd playbook. 27-year-old guy entering the prime of his career. The 2 years off weren't because of injury, so I'm not quite sure why he wouldn't get back to the guy that he was. Aside from that, he doesn't have to be. If he's a top 10 quarterback, they're a playoff team fighting to go advance in the AFC playoffs.
Yeah, I think you hit on the first point there, which is, crucial. This is not a guy that came back from a debilitating injury, and there was a question of whether or not he was ever going to be able to take a football field again. And obviously, a very different path here in everything that Deshaun Watson has gone through. And we had talked about this last year. When he did come back, where was he going to be as far as what he felt, the way he was viewed, his persona. But I think we've gone pretty good to get past that. I mean, if you had told us a year ago that Deshaun Watson was hosting a 7-on-7 high school camp, we would have been like, what in the world is this guy thinking right now? But obviously, his thinking there is that his standing within the community, as being the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns is probably viewed a lot better now today than it was one calendar year ago. As far as what he's going to play with, he's going to play with probably a better receiving core this year than he ever had in his time down with the Houston Texans. He's going to play behind an offensive line that was better than any offensive line he ever had in his time down in the Houston Texans. He's got a running back that's better than he ever had in his time down with the Houston Texans. He has a coach that most likely is going to be highly motivated by ownership to make sure that he succeeds. Is the time away a factor? It could be, in the beginning when we saw him play last year when he first got back, obviously you saw there was some rust. What we're seeing, and granted it's limited, and I doubt anybody is, firing up, videos of a missed throw that Deshaun Watson made and putting it out through their own social medias. Obviously all of it's made to make Deshaun, look in a positive light, like, his game is back to where it was. But for me, I don't understand why we assume it's just not going to be there. And look, and I agree with you, of course, does he have to be one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the NFL for the Browns to succeed? I don't think so, because I think, the offense, literally, again, we're talking about, who's going to be running back number 2 or who's going to be maybe running back number 3. We don't really have any other questions on the offensive side of the ball. And I think we all feel real good about all the acquisitions that were made to improve the defense, starting with, of course, new defense coordinator, all the other talent. This roster is a really, really solid roster. I think Deshaun Watson just has to go out there, and if he can't be the Deshaun Watson that we all grew accustomed to, or even the 2020 version, and let's be honest, I doubt he'll ever be the 2020 version again. But if he's a quarterback that doesn't throw interceptions and throws for a high completion percentage, this is a team that's going to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, and if he is in the top 5, this is a team that's challenging to go to the Super Bowl because you get elite quarterback play with what you have around it, it's pretty good.